Hey everybody, I'm back in another video. So, I know what you're thinking, judging by the title. What am I doing bringing all these people up in one title? It's, especially, Bill Maher. Bill Maher's old news. But I think it's kind of relevant in this video topic. Because, there was, Martin Scorsese's pretty recent. I know he's kind of old, but I keep seeing these links popping up on like Reddit and stuff. I know it's a kind of old news, but he keeps popping up on my, feed and stuff. Like Kevin Smith says this, and the director of Thor Ragnarok says this, and Robert Downey Jr. says this. Samuel Jackson says this about Martin Scorsese and his thing about Marvel movies not being cinema. And then I have a few months ago, Marc Maron said like he doesn't like Marvel movies or whatever, and apparently people like attacked him for that. We'll get into that later. There's a bit more on that, but yeah. So, and of course Bill Maher is in the past, but I think it's still kind of relevant because it all joins together into one piece. At least I'm gonna try to make it fit together the best I can. So, with Martin Scorsese and with all of these people, I think it's important. Granted, I made a video on Bill Maher, so it kind of comes across as hypocritical, if you will, but I think it's important to, not get angry, because really that's only proving their point. Like, because if Bill Maher, like, is saying there, like, oh, well, comic books are for children, and people that read them are children, you're just a baby, or whatever, anything of that sort, and then you come across as angry, that doesn't really make the rest of the community look good. It just comes across like, hey, Bill Maher's right, because, clearly you're acting uncivilized, you're acting like the child because you're getting angry. But, if you, like, and even if you do try to come across as, as, like, intelligent, if you get your points across, like I tried to in my video, like, comic books aren't for kids because there are plenty of other comic books besides superhero comic books, then, even if you get your point across as calmly and as sophisticatedly as possible, people like Bill Maher probably won't change their opinion because they think they're, above everybody else. They think they've got everything figured out. So, what's the point? Now with Marc Maron, that's an interesting story because he is one of my favorite comedians. And if you don't know, he's in the Joker movie, so I feel like you should at least have heard his name once or twice. He's not, like, super popular, but at least not where I live, so I don't know how that is with the rest of the world, but I feel like he's pretty well known. He has a podcast. I actually went to go see one of his shows in, like, May, I think. He's one of my favorite comedians. I've seen, like, most of his shows or, like, stuff he's in, except for Glow. I haven't seen that, but I've seen most of his stuff. I like him a lot. And when he was doing his stand-up around here, he made a joke about Marvel movies. He was doing his bit, and I thought, like, okay, it's kind of, mean-spirited, but it's a joke, it's comedy, whatever. I laughed at it. It's fine. And then we get into, like, August or whatever, and he makes the joke about, like, Marvel fans, whatever, their man-children, and again, people apparently, I haven't seen anything, but he says a lot on his Twitter that people were attacking him for it, and that only proves his point. Like, you're not making a case if you're yelling at him like, Marc Maron's a horrible person, I hate him, It's only proving his point. So again, I think it's, like, in these situations, it's best to, like, kind of just chalk it up to opinion. It doesn't really matter in the first place. If it's Bill Maher, I say that now, but I made a video about Bill Maher, and, it sounds hypocritical, I know, but, in the long run, it doesn't matter. If Bill Maher has his opinion on comic books, he's going to keep it. He's going to be closed-minded. I can't really do anything to change that. Even if I make some YouTube video with my 12 subscribers I have, that's not really going to do anything. But, yeah, with stuff like this, it's, like, best to just kind of keep it, maybe not inside, because that might be harmful, but, like, talk to a friend and, like, remain calm. Because, like, what does their opinion matter? They're just one guy. But, yeah. What people haven't been talking about is apparently on his podcast, he called Marvel fans unfuckable hate nerds, which I think is a bit much, in my opinion. but, whatever. Because I tried to find it. My brother told me that he says that on his podcast. I tried to look it up. I couldn't find anything, so I went to his actual podcast on Spotify. I found it, and he called Marvel fans unfuckable hate nerds. I don't know about all of Marvel fans. Hopefully, just the ones that are mean spirited, because I don't think every person that watches a Marvel movie is an unfuckable hate nerd. But that's just my opinion. And then with Martin Scorsese, again, does it really matter? And I do kind of understand their point, because, movies are more Marvel-centric than they have been in the past. Comic book movies, superhero movies, are becoming a thing now. And again, that's the point, is, it bugs me when people say, comic book movies, because everybody just associates comic books with superheroes and fights and capes. But it's not, because comic books, again, are an art form of media. There's different genres. So again, that bugs me. So that's a sidetrack. But yeah, with Martin Scorsese, it's it doesn't really matter. I think Kevin Smith put it best. I'm not directly quoting him, but it's more of a paraphrase. He said, Martin Scorsese, never, went to the movies and watched Superman with his dad, so he doesn't have the same connection that somebody like us would have, which, makes sense. Again, not if you analyze it fully, then it doesn't make sense, because, again, there are people at my work that, don't really read comic books, but they'll go watch a Marvel movie because it's popular. So that doesn't, fully correlate, but again, superheroes have bigger meaning, and I do disagree with Martin Scorsese, because, again, he said something to the effect of, they don't convey emotion. But if you look at movies The Dark Knight, Spider-Man 2, Watchmen, I guess, one's kind of iffy, but again, I think Watchmen is pretty good. Spider-Man 2, yeah, most of the movies have a message. Even, X-Men, it's kind of, dated, it's in your face, but there's a message to it. Most superhero movies, and yes, they have special effects, but most of them are taken from stories. They have characters that were put into comic books and are being translated onto the screen. But yeah, that's just my take from it. Thanks for watching. Again, it doesn't really matter. It's opinion. So yeah, thanks for watching. Tell me what you think in the comments below. Peace.